Hello, New Orleans. You're listening to the Sports Coma, your new #1 podcast on everything Saints, Pelicans, and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and the guys.
What's up, America? It's Big Q and the guys from the Sports Coma. It's our inaugural show. Kicking it off, we're talking about intense sports talk on the Saints, the Pelicans, and a heck of a lot more. Today's topic is going to be covering the Saints training camps. We're going to break down the defensive line, talk about the ups, the ebbs, and flows of what's going on in camp, the emergence of Tyler Davidson, the continued maturation process of Tyler Davidson amongst other defensive tackles. Outside of that, the draft picks and incoming players as well. We're going to talk about the defensive line in terms of the linebacking core, the left outside, the left linebacker position, all three actually, and the left end position, the pass rush position, complementary of Cam Jordan. Do the Saints have that guy on their roster to have a productive season to complement Cam Jordan's production, who's probably the best defensive end, who no doubt about it is unquestionably the best defensive player, defensive lineman the Saints have on their roster currently. Also, we're going to talk about the offensive line woes, the wide receiver issues, the wide receiver core, how good they're playing. It's mentioning real good production, good play out of Mike Thomas, who's the young rookie out of Ohio State, is really stepping up, making good plays, diving catches, and really impressing at camp. The play of Drew Brees, his contract extension. We're going to cover it all today. Also in the second segment, the second 30-minute portion of our show today, of course, is a 60-minute podcast. In the last 15 minutes of our podcast, we're going to cover the Pels. We're going to talk about and review the decisions that Dale Dempson, assistant GM Danny Ferry, put together, a special assistant to the GM, have done to address the issues with the Pelicans. Did they do enough? And we're going to give you our take on what we think of the acquisitions, draft picks, and free agent class the Pelicans brought in this year. Did they do enough to secure a playoff spot? Did Dale Demps do enough to secure another year on the job? We'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. Outside of that, we'll talk about the draft picks. Going back to the Saints, we'll be talking about the draft picks, Von Bell and a few other guys. We're going to cover it. Can the Saints stop the run? Did they improve the secondary any? That's things that we'll cover in today's show. On today's show, we have two real sport fanatics that support a Big Q and the guys. Devon Cashner, passionate Saints and Pelican fan, have been following franchises all of his life. And like I said, if you want real expert analysis, you talk to the guys that cover that been to the games, that's been in the trenches, that strictly deal with these franchises. Also, we have Big Boy, aka Big Boy David, is on the show as well. There's also some of the guys from Big Q and the guys in the Coma. You'll hear different personnel come in on a daily or semi-daily basis when we release the podcast. Now, we'll talk to those guys in just a second. Before we get into the broadcast today, I'd like to thank you for joining us. Also like to talk to you about some of the things that we offer for it. If you like the podcast, the quality of podcast, and you want to be a daily listener, please do share our podcast. We're located at the Sports Coma at podbean.com. You can download the app and get the Sports Coma, download it to your phone. When we release shows, you'll be notified to follow them. You can also post comments to our shows at our social media pages at All Saints and Pelican Fans at Facebook and on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. It's the Sports Coma. So please get involved with that, show your support. And also, if you feel like donating to us, you can go to the POSH Report. That's www.poshreportonline.co.co and go to the donation section of the website and feel free to donate anywhere from $1 to $5,000, whatever's in your heart to give. Remember, whatever you give, you will receive back in terms of giving. So if you feel we are very worthy cause and looking to build a very sturdy platform, feel free, please, from your heart, to give to the Sports Coma as we deliver real powerful topics today. So outside of that, feel free to go there. Also, we offer at the Posh Report, Posh Lifestyle Store, which is at the poshreportonline.co. We offer a lot of groundbreaking products, water filters to clean and purify your water. Take control of your water. You know, we recently heard about some of the things that were happening in Detroit and other places of the country. Please feel free to clean your water. Take control and possession to filter and clean your water yourself. Do that, and we can help you do that. We offer those products. We offer water filter systems that are well priced for you and your family to bathe in clean water, to wash clothes in clean water, and drink and cook with clean water. It makes a difference. Also, we have healing magnetics for people that's experiencing pain. Those healing magnetics are good for carpal tunnel, among other aches and pains. Very good brand that we offer. We also have jewelry, healing crystals for organic reasons, jewelry, birthstones, or whatnot. Beautiful and really nice jewelry to amplify the positive energy around you and repel the negative. And we know nowadays we need a lot of that. We also have pro gear, Posh Report online gear that you can buy just to show your support. We'll be offering the Sports Coma gear in just a little bit, where you can be able to wear the shirt or a hat or a watch to show your support. All of that is at the poshlifestylestore.com, where you can go on Google and Google Posh Lifestyle, and that's life with a Y, LYFE style, STYLE. Or you can go to the poshreportonline.co. Look for the store banner, click in, and get to shopping. But we're going to start the segment off talking about the defensive line. We'll give our takes on the defensive line and see whether or not the Saints did enough to address the situation and to stop the run. The addition of Sheldon Rankins, John Jenkins, and a few of those other guys. We're going to let Big Boy chime in first and see what he has to say about the acquisition of some of these defensive linemen, first-round draft pick Sheldon, who's we think that we think should be a real good addition to the team. So, Big Boy, at any given time, you can come on in with it, and Devon, you can follow him up and talk about what you need to talk about dealing with those issues with the Saints' defensive line. Hopefully, they've cured them and fixed them to stop the run, and we'll worry about the pass on the back end. What's your take?
And they say he can play all three linebacker positions. So we are very much improved in the linebacker spot. And then, like I said about Anthony, he's very happy with the moves, playing strong linebacker. So he's, there's no problem there. So I think we did good with the linebacker position as well. So, yeah, we did. I feel we improved tremendously.
What you say there, Devon?
Well, I think our linebacker position, maybe over the past few years, has been steadily improved. But I think our linebackers will only be good as our line, man. Up front, if we can keep the guys off of them, which I think we may move through that, it'll definitely make our linebacking core shine a little bit. It's a little sad about losing Kakaha, but Craig Robinson has really been coming on really strong. I've been hearing a lot about him, man, and
real good.
We know what Donnell Ellaby can do. I remember him all the way from the Ravens, and he's pretty good when healthy. And Stephon Anthony is, man, he's first world class talent. I
Right.
see Pro Bowl all over that guy.
Right. Yeah.
Laurinaitis, I think Laurinaitis will help us get that veteran leadership and bring us a Jonathan Vilma type presence, with having everybody be in the right spot at the right time.
Right.
So I really think it was a smart and wise move. At first, I didn't really like it. but I had to sit back, put my GM glasses on and check it out. And Stephon Anthony won't have to do a lot more thinking like he had to do last year because he was a middle linebacker. He can just go out there and play. So he should play even better. He played amazing last year for a rookie.
Right. He was the first linebacker the Saints had with 100 tackles.
Hello?
I couldn't hear you, big brother. What you say?
I said I think he had over 100 tackles.
He did. He did. He was the first Saints linebacker since Ricky Jackson, rookie linebacker, to have over 100 tackles. So anytime you could put a Saints linebacker in the same category as Ricky Jackson, that's saying a lot, man.
Ricky Jackson, you speaking volumes. Yeah, you speaking volumes when you do that.
I like your comments on that the fact that the defensive line is the one that can keep these guys clean, allow them to do their work. Speaking of that, do we have working our way up to that defensive line? Not too much was done in terms of to find a premier end. I guess Kikaha was one that they seen as a guy that would occupy the spot outside, the opposite of Cam Jordan. It seemed like to me the Saints made moves to improve the interior of defensive line. Drafting Sheldon Rankins, the addition of Nick Fairley to a 1-year prove-it deal, the big rookie that they drafted out of Manitoba. I think. What are you guys thinking on the acquisitions of these defensive tackles? Is this could we consider this group better than the heavy lunch bunch, or could we possibly call these guys some of the best defensive tackles we had here since Wayne Martin and Jim Wilkes was here? Is that a stretch on it, or what's your take on that, D?
Man, I think that's a lot of words, man, for some people in the field. We can't give them the title that soon, but on paper, the middle of our defense looks probably the best I ever remember it since maybe we had Norman Hand and Leroy Glover, man.
Right.
If these guys pan out to what they're supposed to be, you got to look at it. We have Nick Fairley, and when he played on side of Ndamukong Suh, he was probably the third, fourth best D-tackle in the league. And we got Sheldon Rankins, who's a freak. This guy catches interceptions and runs at 80 yards, and by the way, he weighs 340 pounds or whatever. So, and then you got John Jenkins, who can stuff the run. But
right. Well, I think
rushing the passer, he can't give us nothing.
Right.
So I think with a rotation of those guys and injecting some of that young talent, I think we're looking pretty stout at the deep tackle spot.
Don't forget about Tyler Davidson, man.
Right.
I kept forgetting about Tyler Davidson. I really like him too, man. Yeah, I'm glad you threw that out there, man, because he's a stud, and I think bearing injury or maybe somebody not playing up to the expectation level, he'd probably be on the field.
What'd you take, big boy? I know you're a fan of Tyler Davidson.
Hey, that's my boy. They was talking about him today in the news. He's getting a rest with the first right now, Tyler Davidson.
Right.
And I think with the addition of Sheldon Rankins and Nick Fairley having on Tyler Davidson, we're going to be able to stop the run this year. We're going to be pretty much improved.
Well, for some time we've all talked about this. About the problems that we have with John Jenkins. He on a 1-year deal. They picked him up out of Georgia. We thought this guy was going to be just a beast, a rebirth of Big Sean Gilbert. He been kind of not there, but hopefully, we thought Kevin Williams would help kind of bring him out of that. We hadn't seen it yet, and this in the final year, maybe with the additions of some of these guys, it'll put a spark in them. But we'll talk about that after we come off the commercial break. I had the guys to address the rest of that conversation. Then we'll jump onto the offensive side, talk about the offensive line, the wide receiver. Hell, Mike Thomas is cutting up. He cutting up. And we're going to talk about Mike Thomas. We're going to talk about Willie Snead. We're going to talk about Kobe Fleener. We're going to talk about them all on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Winter is gone, so spring on over to We've Got It, your low-price, high-class leader. That's right, come in now and take advantage of our everyday bundle deals on any 3 bundles. 12 to 16 inches, $130. 18 to 22 inches, $155. And 24 to 30 inches, $185. We've Got It. 495 Voters Road in Slidell. 985-445-1400. That's 985-445-1400.
I'm the flyest in the world. I'm the flyest in the world. I'm the flyest in the world. Who you know that's better than me? Nobody.
Be the playmaker. Madden NFL 16. Game not yet rated.
Hey, I'm Paul, and I used to ask if you could hear me now with Verizon. Not anymore. I'm with Sprint now, because guess what? It's 2016 and every network is great. In fact, Sprint's reliability is now within 1% of Verizon. And Sprint saves you 50% on most Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile rates. So I switched to Sprint, and millions more have too. Can you hear that?
Don't let a 1% difference cost you twice as much. Switch to Sprint today.
What up, America? This Big Q from the Sports Coma, letting you know that you can follow us and the guys on Facebook, All Saints and Pelican fans, also on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, the Sports Coma. You can also download our podcast at podbean.com. So check us out for all the intense and entertainment talk on the Saints, the Pels, and a hell of a lot more, only at the Sports Coma. You heard me?
Get ready, New Orleans. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
I ain't gonna say it no more.
Oh yeah, we back at it, man. Sports Coma. Big Q and the guys, we talking Saints, man. We was talking the defensive line in the previous segment. We was talking, the last guy we was talking about is John Jenkins, the big defensive tackle out of Georgia. We had issues with Jenkins' play for the last couple of years. Me personally, I had a lot of problems with John Jenkins. I thought he should have been a lot more dominant, being a man of his stature, 6'3", 6'4" guy. He weighs nearly, 330 pounds? He should have been a beast in our felt. Didn't quite materialize like that. But, I'm thinking, when you in the final year of your contract, usually you be more inspired to ball out to get that new contract. I'm not too much anticipating Jenkins to be that much of a game changer, because I really think he is, as far as I'm concerned, he the bottom of the rotation. I think Tyler Davison should be the third between Nick Fairley and Sheldon Rankins as the top two defensive tackles. Tyler Davison, to me, is the third guy, and John Jenkins, to me, is a guy that I believe shouldn't even he shouldn't break that via injury. But what do y'all guys take on that? What do you take on it? Do you think that some of these guys that's coming along in the final year of their contract, especially somebody like John Jenkins, like I said, I might be being a little bit more hard on him, but I do really think that he ain't living up to his potential, as a man of his stature and what he did. Go ahead, big boy.
I agree with you 100%. I'm very displeased. I also got him in the bubble. I mean, he's been there too long. Like you say, he's in his contract here, and he's performing up to his potential. I think he's being than he's putting out. And you got Tyler Davison outplaying him, way outplaying him. So I agree with you 100% on John Jenkins. I just really don't see him probably not even making the team.
Oh, what you think? What's your take on it, Devon?
Man, I think that's a little harsh. But I agree. Maybe not 100% with the John Jenkins thing. I agree about 90%. He's definitely not living up to his potential. And, maybe he's a guy that's interested in other things. I don't know, man. Sometimes it just seems like he's not there. But I can give him one bonus, and one thing I do like about him. He is very stout against the run. So, to me, that still makes him serviceable in certain situations.
You got to remember now too. The Saints, their anticipation of John Jenkins, they did pick up a 4th-round draft pick out of Manitoba, David Oyinmada. If I got that right, I probably butchered the hell out of that. But
so you talking about go watch him? You trying?
No. Oyinmada, the big fellow out of Canada.
Yeah, you got from Canada.
Now, if anything,
that guy is a project. We really don't know what he can do.
But usually as a 4th-round draft pick, and some of the things that Sean Payton and the defensive coordinators were talking about, Bill Johnson in particular, was they wanted that guy because they believe that he can actually contribute this year. Now, you don't usually take I like him too, but I don't think you usually take a defensive tackle in the 4th round as a project. That speaks a little bit to their confidence about John Jenkins, doesn't it?
Yeah, that speaks a lot about the confidence of John Jenkins. Because to me, John Jenkins is one-dimensional and inconsistent. So when you have a player of that caliber right on the nose of the football, that's the anchor of your defense, you got to have more than that.
Right.
So I definitely agree on that. But I think John Jenkins, I don't think he's garbage, a throwaway player. But he's definitely not living up to what we need out of him and what we expected out of him for the position that we put him in. Basically handed the keys over to him, and he's not giving us a good return on that investment. So.
That's absolutely right. Like me and Big Boy talked about it before when they drafted him. We thought this man would come in and he'll be something similar to what Grady Smith was, or even Norman Hand, or Grady Jackson, or perhaps Grady Jackson. And
he shows flashes, man.
Right.
He shows flashes, but then the next game it's like a totally different person.
Right.
So,
he's a model of inconsistency. But let's move up. Let's go to the prima donna positions on the defensive line. We know what Cam's gonna do. Obviously, Cam's the best defensive lineman that we have. I'm pretty sure y'all guys in agreement with that. But who do we have on the left side? Who do you guys think on the left side out of Davis Toole, Kasim Edebali? Let's see, Kasim Edebali, Davis Toole, Gawacham. They just added a new guy, Shaughnessy. They brought him in, and Darryl Tapp. So with all that being said, what do you guys take? Who do you guys think would be a premier compliment to Cam Jordan?
I believe Saddam El Abili. Am I saying his name right? I think
Edebali?
that's my guy, man.
Yeah, Kasim Edebali.
Kasim Edebali.
Right.
Now this young fella didn't have a good hold on our defense or everything last year. We had complete total confusion, right? You had Kakaha above him on the rotation, but he still managed to get 5 sacks last year.
Yes.
So, with all that going down, not being comfortable, you hear him in the interviews, the guy says he wasn't completely, comfortable in the system, and he was unsure of himself, and he still got us 5 sacks, barely playing. So
Good point.
I think that may be the guy, man. And I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about Gotcham.
Right.
Tyler Davidson, he plays pretty decent, but I ain't been hearing much noise about him in camp, man. OTAs, anything. But it's basically a toss-up. Who's got the biggest heart and who wants it bad enough? So
what's your
that's
take?
my take on that.
Okay. What's your take, Big Boy? What's your take on that left end position?
I'm not going to watch him. The defensive end guy he once was a receiver. I think he picked up a little weight. He got the speed. I think he's going to take the defensive end. I like Iguodala and David Tall as well, but I give the nod to watch it because I'm saying his name right. Funny name. But that's what I give the nod to for football.
Well,
that's what impresses me the most.
Well, I like both y'all comments. I think Edebali, man, he one of my favorites, man, because he a hard-nosed, non-stop motor guy, and I appreciate Edebali because he worked his way up from the special team. Whatever they want him to do, whatever they want him to do, he does not speak against it. He does whatever they want him to do, and he does it well. And I would not be mad if Idibale actually got that defensive end position. But to Big Boy's point, I do like to watch him. I like his measurables. He's 6'5". He was 245 last year. He gained 20 pounds. He's at 265, and I think Sean Payton really favors him at that position. But the issue is with Gawachim is I think he had 2.5 sacks last year in limited action. But the problem with Gawachim is can he play the run? That's the issue. He has to be able not only rush the passer, which he has been doing in camp, but can he also stop the run? Can he play the run as good as he does the pass? That's the thing. Okay, guys, we're going to get off the defense. Let's switch on over to the offense. That offensive line in particular, which I believe is the biggest question mark on the offense. You guys' takes might differ. So on the offensive line, what do you guys take on surprises on the offensive line? Things that you don't like? Players might be playing out of position. Guys not getting enough press. Who do you guys think should be getting more deserving of some of those spots on the offensive line? In particular, the guard positions. What's your take on that, Big Boy?
Yeah, I like the player Andrews Pete. You know, he's proven much from last year. But I think they playing him out of position right now. We talked earlier. You see, they got him playing on left tackle.
Right, he filling in for Elmstead.
Yeah, I think he should move them over to right tackle because I believe that's what he gonna wind up being. Because I've seen him beating Zach Street out.
Okay.
So I love to play him.
Okay. What you think, Devon?
I also like Andrews Pete, man, but I'm gonna make a comment based on him switching and moving around. It shows just the inconsistency and how much disarray we are with our offensive line. Because Andrews Pete is bouncing all over the place. We don't know where we're gonna play Tim Lolito. You know, you got Kyle Amate. They're trying to fit him in the rotation. They don't know whether Strief is gonna beat out Zach Strief or not. If he's gonna move over, our offensive line is just a mess.
Yes.
The only position I can hang my hat on offensive line is two guys. You got Max Unger and Tyron Armstead.
Yes.
Pete, I think, is the next best guy up. But he's still kind of a question mark because he's serviceable. But for the place that we took him in the 13th round, we're going to have to see a lot more out of him.
Right, I agree with you. I think that the
13th pick.
Right, to take him at the tackle, to take him that high in the draft, when a lot of people felt that they should have took a defensive lineman there and then play him out of position when he's supposed to be actually playing the tackle position. When he was at Stanford, he played 4 years as a tackle. And now you move him into a right guard position. Sean Payton obviously feels that he is not better than Zach Strief at this stage of his career. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think should Zach Strief be starting? I mean, you could take Zach Strief off our team. I don't believe Zach Strief would start anywhere in the NFL at right tackle. I mean, that's just my take. What do you guys think on that?
He's another guy I got on the bubble, Zach Street. I mean, I agree with you. He's getting older and he's slower. You know, I think he's going to be injuries. You know, that's the way I feel.
Okay. What you think,
I think Zach Street might have a little dirt on Sean Payton, bro. This guy reminds me of Luke Walton on the Lakers. Like, well, how is he on the team? Like, you know. So I really don't know what to make of it, man. It's clear to me that Andrews Pete, physically, technically sound is better than Zach Strief. But maybe, just maybe, Zach Strief, I guess, dishes out the calls better to the guy next to him. I don't know exactly, man. I can't make no sense of that one.
Well, I tell you what, he might very well have a little dirt on Sean Payton. Who knows? But look, we're gonna talk about the rest of the offense. We're going into our second commercial break. We'll be back. We'll get into Mike Thomas. We'll talk about them wide receivers and the rest of them guys. Quarterback Drew Brees. We're gonna even talk extension. Maybe why he ain't got that extension yet. We'll talk it all, and then we'll follow up with a little Pelican talk in our next segment. Stay with us. You're rapping with the Sports Coma. Big Q and the guys. We'll be back in a little bit.
I'm not retiring.
I'll still break that old man's ankles.
I'm still gonna knock down turnaround jumpers all day.
That ain't changing.
Man, I drop threes on them all night long.
All night.
All night.
I'll drain threes on you all night.
Man, I dropped 82 on you.
I've been Kobe for like 14 years.
I've been him for 16 years.
I won like 15 championships.
I've been Kobe for as long as I can remember.
Dude, you're 8.
Nah, man. I'm not retiring.
I hate Kobe Bryant.
I love that Mamba face.
I hate that Mamba face. I'll dunk on fools.
I'll still hate Kobe Bryant.
I'm still gonna hate him.
He's not done.
This doesn't change a thing.
I am Kobe.
I am Kobe.
I am Kobe Bryant.
I'll still be Kobe Bryant.
Product not yet rated.
The Six, Raptors, Diamond, Key, New Ride, Old Ride, Bad Times, Good Times, Young Money, New Money, OVO, 29, 29, 29, Best I Ever Had, Worst Behavior, Old Crib, New Crib, October, Sound, Festival, Album Time Again, or Acting Time Again, My Friend, My Friends, Younger Me, Older Me, Me as Manny, Me as Jimmy, Me as Drake.
What up, America? This Big Q from the Sports Coma, letting you know that you can follow us and the guys on Facebook, All Saints and Pelican fans, also on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, the Sports Coma. You can also download our podcast at podbean.com. So check us out for all the intense and entertainment talk on the Saints, the Pels, and a hell of a lot more, only at the Sports Coma, you heard me? Oh yeah, you back with the Coma. Big Q and the guys, man. We rapping Saints. We talking we dishing a little dirt. We gonna talk about we just talking about the street, the offensive line. Devon and Big Boy made some great observations, man. I mean, them real powerful observations on the offensive line. You're right. Zach Armstead is a lock at the left tackle position. Max Unger, at least for another year, as our starting center. I don't think Zach Street should be the starting right tackle. I really don't. I think the speed of the guys in the division will prove that case. We got some of the more difficult guys in the division that'll be coming at us, especially at Drew Brees. I still remember those games last year where they had Zach Street had those multi-sack games that damn near got Drew Brees killed. So that's fresh in my mind. I don't particularly think Clemente and Lolito are guys that should be starting for you. I think Lolito is a guy who the Saints gave a 1-year tender, and I think that's basically equal to a 1-year prove-it deal for Lolito. He can't particularly play the center well. He's not really a good guard. At last year, if you guys remember, they replaced him throughout the season at different games with Clemente. So I'm not particularly sure he's the answer, or Clemente is a starting caliber guard in this league. I more like Landon Turner out of North Carolina, the undrafted guy they picked up. I do like a couple of the All-American guys that they picked up. I think they got futures. But you're right. I think the offensive line is a complete mess. So let's talk about something that's not a complete mess. How about the Saints wide receiver core? The emergence of Brandon Cooks last year as a phenomenal talent, the deep bomb threat everybody thought he should be. Mike Thomas surprised a lot of people, the drafting of Mike Thomas with the second round pick, 16 overall last year for the Saints in the second round. With that being said, you have Willie Snead, you have Coleman, who I really do think has been the model of inconsistency, not as bad as Jenkins is, but I really don't. He has the size and the stature, but for whatever reason, he's not seasoned today. But what do you guys take on that young wide receiver core, man, including the tight ends? Kobe Fleener, I know, Devon, man, you had a heated conversation some time ago about Kobe Fleener being overpaid And so let's discuss that. Let's talk about the wide receiver and tight end position. Give me your take on that. We're gonna start with you, Devon.
I think after this season, you're gonna be telling me that Michael Thomas should have all Kobe Fleener money. That's what I think. This guy don't look like no rookie, man. He's coming in straight out the gate. You know, back-to-back days with long touchdown, one-handed catches. I don't hear Kobe Fleener doing that. But in Kobe Fleener's defense, I do think he's a respectable tight end. And I don't think he's a horrible guy. I just don't think we should have gave him, $40 million, whatever it was. Maybe we could have probably found somebody to fill that spot for a little bit cheaper. But Brandon Cooks is a stud, man. I can't wait till Steve Smith retires so he can show that guy all his little extra tricks and stuff. Because he seems to be, to me, the second coming of a Steve Smith / Antonio Brown. He fits right in between both of those guys. And I'm really impressed with him. Willie Snead is very, very consistent. I like that guy. And outside of that, we got a few people that kind of got to show up. We got somebody fighting for kind of that fifth spot. We don't really have anyone etched in that fifth spot. But those other four guys, man, I think we're going to be looking real good on offense. Number one offense again this year.
That's high praise for Michael Thomas between Antonio Gates and I mean that's very high praise. Hey, Big Boy, what's your take on that? What's your take on the wide receiver and tight end position? I know you had some reserves about Hakeem Hicks and the Knicks. What's your take overall of both units?
I can't agree with him a lot. About Michael Thomas, looking at ESPN, and we had him ranked already like the fifth wide receiver rookie coming out of the draft. Well, not the rookie receiver, but rookie ain't going to be successful. They got to run from the car. So that was one of my players. Like you see, Brandon Cooper's going to be a beast. And Brandon Coleman, I'm not too high on him. You know, he got signed. He thinks he can hit it, but he seems to be. And for that fifth wide receiver spot, I'm have to get a key guard on that.
Well, I mean, I like the to be honest with you, I think Kobe Fleener, to me, he was a guy that is coming off of multiple 50-yard catch seasons with a non-prolific offense in Indianapolis. You know, I just think he's an upgrade over what we had last year in Ben Watson. I think he's a guy that
he's an upgrade over Ben Watson?
I think so. I think he's a. Yes.
He did good with Ben Watson.
Yes.
Ben Watson did pretty good, man.
He did real well, but for one season. But he just for one season, Ben Watson did. Remember that we had Ben Watson for over 3 seasons down here, and that's really in a starring role. He had opportunities against really. Josh Hill was baited when the season started. If you remember, Josh Hill was moved ahead of Ben Watson in the depth chart. Was basically given a starting job before the season started, but he was so woeful in his play last year that ended up becoming Ben Watson's job. Ben was just solid, and then like I said, most veterans, most players excel in that final year of that contract. They're motivated to play better, to work harder, to earn another contract. So I'm not taking nothing away from Ben Watson. That was the best season of his career. The problem is the Saints needed more of a viable option. Ben is not athletic. He's not a great blocker. With Kobe Fleener gives him the ability to get to the second level. He's been and in camp he's been doing real well. He's been catching a lot of the passes from Drew Brees on slant routes. It was one that he took to the house the other day. So he's just an upgrade in terms of what it is. Now, I made the comment when they signed Kobe Fleener is that they gave him $50+ million, which is a lot of money to pay the tight end. But the deal is, I believe that he will be every bit as important to Drew Brees as Greg Olsen is to Cam Newton. And if you know what Greg Olsen means to the the Carolina Panthers offense, that's everything. He's led that team receiving wise, catch wise for the last 2 or 3 years, and plus beyond that. But that's what I'm saying. I really do think he will be what to Drew Brees what Greg Olsen is to Cam Newton. What's your take on that, Devon?
So for $50 million, you're telling me this guy's gonna play up to Jimmy Graham? Because that's basically the type of money we're giving him.
Well,
he should have at least 8 touchdowns, right? 8 touchdowns.
Should have at least 8 touchdowns and at least 70 catches.
900 yards.
900 and at least 70 catches.
Okay, we'll see, man. That's my take on it. We'll see, because you provided some very interesting facts. Maybe a little bit of my stuff is kind of emotional, but you provided some interesting facts. And I did look up Kobe Fleener, and he led his team in receptions for his tight ends, and I think he had a few, maybe 8 touchdown seasons and whatnot. So if he could bring that same type of production over here, I think we'd be fine. But I still just don't sit easy with us giving him $50 million, man.
Well, I think that's
Jimmy Graham for that money.
well, but that's the issue. Jimmy Graham wasn't much on the block, and I'm not saying Kobe Fleener is a lights out blocker.
That's why he left where he was, because he wasn't much of a blocker, right?
Right.
Coach was moving to a more traditional blocking tight end role, right?
Right. But
that man,
Hulamani, who man?
The guy from the Patriots.
Yeah, he's a good blocker.
Yeah, he is.
What's your take on that big ball and the Kobe Fleener deal? You like it or you don't like it?
I like the move, but I don't think he was better than Ben Watson. I think Ben Watson played as good last year. He was showing up clearly, but I kind of agree with your boy. I think they gave him a little bit too much money. Because, like I said, he's a good kicker, but he's not a good blocker. I mean, they can play like the opposite up and downs and that, but I just think they kind of played a little bit too much for him.
Right. I respect that. I think right now it's probably this year would be a lot of debate on his contract numbers. It won't be justified till the year's over with. We see what kind of production he'll have at the completion of the year. That's when we'll be justified to say whether or not he deserves Gronk type money or not. But of course they were competing with other teams that secure Kobe Fleener's services. I think it was a solid move. They might have paid at least $5 to $10 million over what they were supposed to pay. But I think this guy will be a real stellar tight end for him. Let's get to the diva position, the quarterback position. Drew been looking pretty solid in camp as usual. He's been there, lighthearted. A lot of talk has been made about his contract situation. He's been taking it lighthearted as usually do. He's playing with the last year of his deal, $30-something million on the final year of his deal. Well, what do you guys take? Do you think the McAlumas, the Saints brass are going to get a deal, a multi-year deal done with Drew Brees, or this the time where we will kind of release him and see about getting somebody else or drafting somebody else? What's your take on that?
I think the booth is held on that deal for this year, man, because you have to think about it realistically from a standpoint of a GM right now. What sense does it make for the Saints to do a deal right now? They've talked, and I guess they presented Drew Brees with an offer that maybe he didn't like, and now they want him to go out and prove it. You're 37 years old. Let's see what happens this year. We might not want to spend that type of money on you because maybe you have a piece staying year and your arm goes out. Who knows? So
yeah, what is that?
What'd you say, Big Boy?
I say agree with him. He's going to get hurt. Then you got damage to balance.
Well, it's definitely interesting, for Drew Brees to have to prove anything to the Saints organization at this stage of his career. I mean, right now he got the keys to the city as far as I'm concerned. But well, he's still true for 4,000 yards last year, 30 touchdowns, led him in a top-ranked offense. But who knows? We'll see how it manifests. Coming up next after this commercial break on the Sports Coma, we'll be talking to Pelicans. So I'm gonna tell my boys, these basketball experts, to put their Pelican hats on. We'll be talking about AD and the prospects of what the Pelicans got after the break. Stay with us on the Sports Coma.
Hey, this Sway. I'm about to tune you in. I'll cue you into your one-stop online shop for all your health essentials. Your vitamins, your water filters, healing magnetics, hygiene products, healing crystals, and jewelry. For all this and more, just log into theposhlifestyle.com. Once again, that is theposhlifestyle.com.
There's no one road out there. No one surface. No one speed. No one way of driving on each and every road. But there is one car that can conquer them all. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class. 5 driving modes let you customize the steering, shift points, and suspension to fit the mood you're in and the road you're on. The 2016 C-Class, starting at $38,950.
Is it true Ciroc vodka makes the best flavors in the world? Take one sip of the lush wildness of Ciroc Red Berry. One taste of the intense ripeness of Ciroc Peach. Even one drop of the explosive freshness of Ciroc Coconut. And the truth will come to your lips. Ciroc Ultra Premium flavors. One sip is all it takes to taste true perfection. Available in Red Berry, Coconut, and Peach. Ciroc. Nothing tastes better than the truth.
Bud Light Party believes in change. That's why Bud Light has a new look, and we want to share it with everyone. From our national parks to our furthest shores, jackpot, to your living room. Look under your seats! Still the same refreshing Bud Light with a new look.
Back at the Sports Coma. Big Q and the guys. We rapping Pelicans in this segment, the last segment of the show. We're going to talk about them Pels. See what they can do. Last year, 30 wins. Dead last in their division. We were screaming for Dell Demp's head on a stick. We were screaming. We was an angry mob with pitchforks and torches. And guess what? I was standing at the front of the mob, cheering them on. We wanted blood. We wanted to draw blood. We wanted Dale Demps out. The interesting things that happened, fellas, since since that happened. Those 30 wins in that injury-plagued season. The death of Bryce, about the shooting guard out in Dallas getting shot in the apartment. Bryce. Sad stuff, but the Pels did bounce back after a tumultuous season. In terms of adding some talent to their team, starting with Solomon Hill, and a few other acquisitions. They're not the Buddy Hield as a compliment to AED. Give me y'all guys' take on the Saints. on the Pelicans, free agent and draft acquisitions. Did we do enough to help this team become a playoff team? We're going to start with you, Devon.
Well, I'm not going to step out on a limb and say they did enough, but I think they did what they could to give us the best possible chance at a playoff run, while at the same time setting us up to be a dominant team in the future. They didn't go out and spend all that money in one hat on this big free agent acquisition. Because there wasn't a lot of guys that we really could afford. But the salary cap will continue to rise and we'll have a better chance next year. But with this guy, Solomon Hill, I'm not really sure on him. He averages about 6 points, but he looks to be a pretty good defender. So I think that'll fit our team. And he's also a runner, and he can hit that corner three. So, but Buddy Hield is I think the fate of a lot is kind of weighing on him. If he can be that just scorer he was in college, let's say maybe average about 16 points or so a game, I think we're looking at a low playoff team. If AD doesn't get hurt and he's as dominant as we're used to him being, which I don't see a reason why he won't be bearing on injury.
That's always the case with AD.
I think they can make a run at the any spot from maybe 6 to 8 with all the moving and shaking going on in the West with all those trades and signings and things.
What's your take, big boy?
I agree with what he said. I think they brought in some solid veterans, you know. They got them on some long-term deals. And they also, you know, brought in the monstrous Barry Cleveland, you know, which that means they can move these guys and really feel them. So I think they did a good job with that. And I also heard they had an interest in looking at this guy named Kenneth Pels, who is still not through. He's in a forward with the Nuggets. And we maybe have interest in trying to get him as well. So I think we're trying to get more players to help prove this team. I do think they're a number 8 seed playoff team with the players they have.
Well, that's you know what, I had a chance and opportunity to kind of look over things, and I agree with you. Me and you talked previously about their ranking. I think they are a playoff team. I think they can squeeze into that 8 seed team. I don't really think beyond the 5th position. You know, you got the power of the West at the top 4. Well, Golden State obviously shining up there. You got a few other teams. I do really think Minnesota's going to make a jump from what they are into the playoffs. I really do think with the acquisition of Tom Thibodeau and the moves that they made and him bringing his defensive acumen to Minnesota, I believe that they will do that. They'll have a transition similar to what the Bulls had before Tom Thibodeau got there. I think they'll really make a jump, and that'll be the surprise team. But I do think the Pels done enough to get them into that 8 seed team. I know that's a little bold on a limb, but I really don't think that bold to make that charge. Being that said, we know we follow this team. If anything, we follow these teams. Both of you guys. Do you know the Pels? You know the moves that Dale Demps is to me. It don't seem like these are Dale Dempish moves. It seems like they got Danny Ferry's hands all over this thing. You know, working the draft the way they did, making 2 trades. They had 2 second-round picks. They traded up to get Sheik Diallo, who's been a talent for us. He tore up the league, the summer league, blocking, running the floor. Big surprise. I really like Sheik Diallo. I think he's going to be terrific for this team. But this is my take. Working the draft the way they did, doing the due diligence, going to watch the draft picks. Signing players that are not name brand players, maximizing the money that they had, $30-something million, and were able to sign solid players that got grit and determination that actually fit in the system of the coach that you hired. That is really groundbreaking to some GMs, you know. But Dale Demps was actually, with the help of Danny Ferry. What do y'all guys take on that? Do you can if we gonna separate the two, if we could, who would you give more credit to, Danny Ferry or Dale Demps? Who do you think got fingerprints all over this thing?
We already know. I gotta go.
Go ahead, big boy. What you say?
I'm sorry to cut y'all off. Like I said, that's Danny Ferry.
Okay. What'd you say, Devon?
I'm gonna say I don't have a choice in what to say. I mean, the guy's name is Dylan. What do we call it? Dylan Dell. So we didn't make any deals on our draft picks. So it's pretty obvious to me that Danny Ferry had a very huge impact on a lot of their decisions in the offseason. So I think depending on how this plays out, man, if this team makes a tremendous jump based on those moves, I think Dale Demps may be out of the GM job.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's. I think at first, a lot of the stuff that happened, me and Big Boy had the discussions over the summer while it was happening. We weren't too pleased. At first, I had to sit back and, like you said, put the GM in the hat to understand. They had $30 million a cap to work with. And they did fantastic work with it. I mean, they started by getting Buddy Hield. They made the right call getting Buddy Hield and not Jamal Murray, who didn't want to come here. I think Buddy Hield is the shooter that they've been missing. I think he had a little rough, even though he struggled in summer league, he averaged just about 16 points, right at under 16 points a game. But I believe with his work ethic, I think that he will be, he's a rookie, but I do think that he will find his shooter's touch. He'll have opportunities to shoot the ball when they all put him on the floor. I look at Solomon Hill. I don't think Solomon Hill was brought down here to be a scorer. I think he was brought down here to be a player that will give them the defense that they need. Plus, he can shoot the three to a degree as well. And remember, these guys that they signed, they're multi-purpose guys. Antoine Moore is 6'4". He shot 45% last year for Chicago, one of the top three-point shooters in the league. That's not named a splash brother. I mean, but he was able to. He's 6'4". He plays the point. He plays the 1 or the 2 spot. Langston Galloway, Baton Rouge native. This young guy here, he's about 6'2", 6'3". He plays double positions. Solomon Hill is 6'7", 6'8". He plays the power forward, small forward, and some, and shooting guard if you too. So that's what I'm looking at. And I'm saying you got multi-purpose guys and insurance guys just in case we have an injury with Anthony Davis, where Solomon Hill can come in and play. And let's not forget the acquisition of Terrence Jones. I really like the Terrence Jones acquisition. I think Terrence Jones is going to really help us out. What's your take on that, big boy?
Yeah, I like the acquisition of Terrence Jones. I think that was one of the benefits. And like you said, Solomon Hill, I don't think they really got him for the score. Then comparing him to the guy played for San Antonio.
Kawhi Leonard.
What's his name? We talked about him last time.
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard, okay.
Yeah, he played for San Antonio. What's his name?
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard, yeah. They compared Solomon Hill to Kawhi Leonard, so you can look at him more like as a defensive personnel, and like you said about Buddy Hill, I think he's going to slow his touch as the season goes on. But I'm going to really focus on Chico Delano. How would you put out these guys' names? They got some real names.
Right, Sheik Diallo.
The second round draft pick, this is going to be really impressive.
Right. I think it's awesome. I think I like the team that they put together, the draft picks. Both draft picks, they're going to get enough time to actually contribute. I think the veterans that they brought in to assist to build the bench, I think they'll have an opportunity to play, and they'll fit well with a healthy Quincy Pondexter. But let's not forget Quincy Pondexter has been a solid player for us for the last couple of years prior to his injury. I think he's healthy. He's coming back. He'll contribute at the small forward position. I think the odd man out will probably be Cunningham. I don't think that he'll be able to make it when you add Quincy Pondexter. Maybe he can make it at the bottom of the draft, but we definitely know Tyreek Evans is history. We definitely know he's going to be trade bait, but maybe Cunningham can make it at the bottom of the roster. But it's hard for me to see them taking minutes away from Sheik Diallo to give to Cunningham. But what's your take on Tyreek Davis? You guys think they'll move Tyreek Davis? Is it a good choice to get the guy from Milwaukee to come down here? Would that be a good trade for the Pels to make to get the big center from Milwaukee?
Yeah, that'd be a good trade. And that would be an amazing trade, man. And he's a hometown guy right from the West Bank, so I think that would be amazing if they could work that out. Because Tyreek Evans ain't doing nothing but eating up money. He just don't fit with the Albert Gentry system, man. He can't shoot. We need shooters. We definitely need a big guy on the block that can take some of that pressure off Anthony Davis on the defensive end. And I think my role is a perfect candidate for that.
Well, let me ask you this before we about to head out in the show. Give me your quick takes, both of you guys. Give me quick takes on Drew Holiday. Is Drew Holiday get a multi-year deal, or do we get rid of Drew Holiday with his injury histories? What we do with Drew Holiday quickly?
Yeah, I say we keep Drew Holiday, man. Drew Holiday is a really good player. We just make him a combo guard, try to bring him off the bench instead of having him start.
All right, what you say, big boy? Drew Holiday.
I I said we keep him. I like Drew Holiday. I think he's a good player. Like you said, bring him off the bench, you know. But yeah, we keep him. I definitely will keep him.
Okay, well, I don't think we keep him off the bench if he's making more than $10 million a year. I think Philadelphia kind of got us once with the trade wing. Check them out, but we'll talk about that in another show. Thank you for joining us on the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Y'all have a good day, and make sure y'all check us out on the podcast, podbean.com, among other things. Big Q and the guys on the Sports Coma. Have a good one.